Every winter, this one patch of ice formed outside the side entrance of the school, and nobody ever salted it. And kids figured out something fast. If you hit it at full speed and land just right, you'll just keep on sliding. It was this long stretch that if executed properly, kids could just slide for what seemed like ever. Groups of people were doing it every morning. Yo! A pile of backpacks here and a line of kids here. It wasn't easy. Some kids wiped out. Some kids went pretty far. Well, one kid showed up, he took it way too seriously. Before and after school, he shows up with two of his biggest buddies. And if somebody wanted to slide on this ice, they had to give him something. What you got? Well, you're in my math class. I'll give you the answer to tomorrow's homework. Deal. He would then let them go and mark down how far they went. 15 feet, 18 feet, 25 feet. Now, everyone's showing up with offerings to get in line to try to beat the best record. This kid's getting tons of snacks, homework answers, random items. That's when one angry janitor sees what's going on and he's like, oh, I can't have this. So every morning he begins salting it. That forgotten ice patch was no more. But for that time, it was awesome. Who knows what tabletopping is? When I was in school, tabletopping was this kind of dangerous thing where you would get on your hands and knees behind somebody and your friend would push them down over you. Okay, I'm not recommending it, but this one school got a brand new teacher fresh out of college. It was literally his first week there, but he looked like a 16-year-old. What's up? I'm Mr. Johnson. So one day during passing period, he's walking through the hallways carrying his bag. And on this particular day, this group of kids were going around tabletopping people. So they figured, hey, that's a student, let's tabletop him. Yo, next victim. Perfect. So these goofballs decide to go for it. One of them gets in front of him and says, hey, what's up, bro? Hey. While the other gets behind him on all fours, and he pushes. He falls down, and he breaks his arm, and that's when the students can see his staff badge. Bro, that's a teacher. What? I could have sworn it was a freshman. Teacher is screaming, his arm is broken half. Office gets called. These kids literally get suspended. They were almost expelled. But that poor teacher, he was actually bullied for that entire year. That's just not right. No chewing gum in my class. Ah, rats. Marcus gets caught chewing gum by one of the super strict teachers. Marcus, spit it out. Now, most people would just take their gum and walk it to the trash can. But not Marcus. He's too cool for that. So he takes the gum out, he stands up slowly, he looks at the garbage can across the room. Watch this. Whole class locks in, trying to see if he's gonna make the shot. He launches it. Perfect arc. It's going. At the very last second, the gum curves and gets stuck in the quiet kid's hair. Everybody's horrified. They're waiting for this quiet kid to freak out. But the kid never talks and he barely even reacts to this. He slowly reaches up. He touches the gum. It's not coming out easy. It's stuck in there pretty good. Then he calmly opens his backpack and pulls out a pair of scissors. And without saying a single word, he just cuts that chunk of gum right out of his hair. He sets the gum on his desk, puts the scissors back in his backpack, zips it up, and then he puts the hairy wad of gum in his mouth and starts chewing it. Goes right back to taking notes. The strict teacher's like, you know what? He can chew it. I'm not dealing with that. Yeah, that kid's pretty weird. I hate braces. Mikey got braces right before freshman year, and he really didn't want anybody to notice. So the whole summer, this dude's in the mirror practicing, smiling with his lips closed, talking differently. Hi, my name's Mikey. How are you? Laughing without showing teeth. Fully rehearsing these facial expressions. First day of school, he thinks he's got it under control. Then English class happens. Also, Mikey's mouth was messed up. He had those rubber bands in different places. Well, the teacher asks a question, calls on Mikey. So Mikey, what do you think they did with all the cows? Then Mikey responds something that made himself laugh. They made milk. He smiles big, his braces are showing, but one of those rubber bands that he has connected to his braces comes loose and just straight to the front of the room. Right into the teacher's eye. What was that? Oh no! It came out of Mikey's mouth. It was so unfortunate. Mikey was in the front row. Truly a freak accident, but Mikey was bullied for like a month. Poor guy. Her mom's boyfriend was nice at first. Helpful, friendly. Hey Kayla, I brought you home some McDonald's. Thanks, Mark. He treated her great. Then he married her mom. And almost overnight, he stopped talking to her completely. Hey Mark, how's your day? He would walk past her like she wasn't even there. Then her little brother was born. And that's when it got worse. She said he basically decided that she didn't belong in the house anymore. First, he stopped cooking for her. He told the 14-year-old, if you want food, buy your own. but she also wasn't allowed to get a job. Then he would take her laundry out of the washer mid-cycle to put his own in, and he would throw her wet clothes just on the floor. Why'd you do this? He would always scream that it was because, this is my machine, I bought it. And then as a punishment, she would make her do everyone else's laundry and fold it all. He banned her friends from coming over, never let her take the classes she wanted at the park district, and then he did one thing that she said that she would never forget. She went away to school camp for 2 weeks. She came back excited to get home. She walked into her room, looked at her bookshelf. All my books are gone. Every single one. Turns out while she was away, he had been using her book collection to start fires in the fireplace. One by one, burning them for kindling. And that is another example of a horrible person. The most uncomfortable dinner ever. So this kid gets invited to his friend's house for dinner. Everyone's sitting at the table and the drinks are poured. This kid said that he wants milk, please. He gets poured milk, everyone else gets poured their drinks, and they start to eat dinner. But then he takes a sip of his milk. The entire table stops eating and stares at him. The dad slowly looks at him, dead serious. In this house, we do not drink until you finish your meal. Wait, he repeats himself. In this house, we do not drink until we finish our meal. He's like, okay, yep, got it. Will not drink my milk until my meal's gone. He was horrified. Hey bro, you should apologize to my dad. Seriously? Yes. I'm really sorry, sir. Once they were all done eating, his friend's dad tried to punish him. He said, because of what you did at dinner, I want you to take your shoes off and run 3 laps around the house. Mind you, it was freezing cold outside and there was snow on the ground. This kid just said, no, I'm not doing that. He called his mom picked him up, she told her what happened, and he never went there ever again. What kind of dad does that? This is what happens when your math teacher sucks. This guy's kid is in 4th grade, and she's been having trouble in math. The whole year she's struggled, but when they got to multiplication and division, she struggled even more. I just don't understand it, Dad. I know, let's just try it again. The thing is, she just doesn't understand the method they're teaching, and it doesn't sound easy. So for multiplying, it's a bunch of steps. You break up the numbers, you draw boxes, then you multiply and then add them together. Something like that. And she gets these problems wrong like 90% of the time. So the dad's like, you know what? I'm gonna teach you the way that I learned how to do multiplication. She's like, okay. And guess what? Oh, Dad, I understand it. She under-frickin-stands it. Homework is a million times easier now because she learned it and she's actually solving the problems. Well, here's the issue. His daughter had a math test a few weeks ago, and she came home very upset. Dad, I failed. What? Let me see your test. She got a 50%, even though she only got 2 problems wrong. Technically, it should have been a 92%. So he goes into school and he has a conversation with the teacher. Can you explain why my daughter failed? The teacher says, yes, it's because she didn't use the method that I taught in this class. Excuse me? The dad pointed out that the test just says to show you work. It doesn't say to use a specific method. But she said, well, that's too bad. I taught my method to these students for a reason. Your daughter didn't use it. So she fails. Oh, the dad was furious. He went to the principal. He admits that he made it a pretty big deal. What are you guys teaching in the school, huh? Some bogus way to do multiplication? It's so much easier than that. Now my daughter's failing even though she got a 92% on the test. Except with a lot more yelling. The principal called the teacher in and forced her to change the girl's grade to an A. The principal then apologized to the dad and said, it won't happen again. Better not. But for real, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Craziest things teachers confiscated at school. This teacher was on her break when a student came up to her. He said that there was something that she had to see. So she followed him to a classroom. And this dude showed her a student's desk with an open notebook on it. And in that notebook was a bunch of names and information written down, including her own name. This was the crazy part. Written below her name was her birthday, address, and license plate number. At this point, she was definitely creeped out. The student who owned that notebook was then taken to the office. The police were called and they took her phone away. They wanted to look through it, just to be safe. Well, they found a photo album called Teachers. And in this album were pictures of 4 teachers, including the one in this story. Some pictures were taken secretly during class and others were saved from their Facebook profiles. That is absolutely creepy. This kid ran a crazy business during lunch. At his school, lunches were pretty long. He started bringing in 2 pairs of boxing gloves every day, and he would rent them out to people during lunch. He charged $10 for a 10-minute fight in the locker room, and people did it. It started slow at first, of course, but eventually word got out. People had to tell him in advance if they wanted to plan a fight and rent the gloves. Business was booming. Every day during lunch in the locker room, there were boxing matches. Other students even began watching these fights every day for their own entertainment. People were even making bets on the fights. But as you can guess, this didn't last very long. However, in its prime, he was making $200 a day. Black markets kids ran in their schools, a subscriber submission. At the school this person went to, the teachers would give away these tickets for good behavior or good grades. And kids could use these tickets to buy a bunch of stuff. Cookies, Cheez-Its, animal crackers, extensions on homework, whatever you want. Well, one kid was a savage and got a brilliant idea. He began stealing the rolls of these tickets from teachers' desks when they were not looking. And he was selling them to students at the school for $1 each. At first, nobody bought them. But after about a week, business was booming. He made about $1,500 before his mom found the money in his room. This is not okay, Kyle. You made money off of selling things that weren't yours. That's business, baby. What did you say to me? I'm giving this money to Mrs. Stevens tomorrow. But she's only getting half because you did work hard for this. Hey, what's in your bag? Justice and 5 deviled eggs. So this one school had this thing where students could bring in their own snacks to eat during their mid-morning study session. It was kind of like a study hall, but everybody was in like one area, I guess. Small town school stuff, you know. It was totally chill. As long as you weren't like throwing food or making a mess, nobody cared at all. Well, one mom had a problem. A big one, apparently. Her kid came home one day and told her that somebody sitting next to her was eating tuna and crackers. And she told her mom that the smell made her lose my appetite. It was gross. Also, low-key, I freaking love tuna. I'm not gonna lie to you guys here. Okay, tuna and crackers, it slaps. Alright, if you don't like tuna, that's fine. But hating on tuna lovers? Okay, I'm done. So the mom emailed the teacher. Hi, I would like to request that no odorous or ugly snacks be permitted during the mid-morning study period. Ugly snacks? This is what she meant by ugly snacks. Tuna, hard-boiled eggs, anything pickled, sardines, olives, blue cheese, strong-smelling beef jerky. The list went on and on and on. She ended it with, let's keep the school a pleasant place for everybody. Perfect. The teacher forwarded that email to the principal. The principal ignored it at first, but the mom kept pushing. She started emailing other parents. She was asking them to talk to their kids about bringing less offensive snacks. Well, this got back to the students, and the students were done with this. They thought this mom was being crazy. That Friday, a group of 7th graders showed up with the smelliest, most ugly snacks that they could find. Sardines, canned oysters, garlic hummus. One kid brought a whole onion. They called it Stink Snack Friday. The teacher tried to shut it down, but they weren't breaking any rules. Like, it's food. The next week, even more kids joined in. One kid found a local fruit dealer and brought in a durian. A durian! And those things freaking stink! Eventually, the principal sent a message home to all the parents via email. While students are welcome to bring food from home, we are encouraging less aromatic options moving forward. We'll see. But the damage was done. The kids won, and Stink Snack Friday became a tradition. This teacher was the strictest in the school. No phones, no talking, and absolutely no food. But then one morning, before class, she saw a single flaming hot Cheeto, perfectly taped to the middle of her desk. What is this? She peeled the snack off, put it in the garbage, and monitored the room incredibly well that day. Nobody came forward. The next day, another Cheeto, taped with a single piece of Scotch tape on the pencil sharpener. Another one. The next day, another one taped to the back of her chair. The day after that, it was taped to her escape key on her keyboard. What is going on? She had no idea who was doing this, and it was messing with her badly. So she went to the school principal and the people in charge, and they're like, okay, settle down, it's just Cheeto, but I'll make an announcement. The principal was young and new, and he was about to make a major mistake. Good morning, students. Whoever keeps taping single hot Cheetos to things in Mrs. Gable's room, please stop. Uh-oh. He made that announcement to a middle school. What happened next? Dozens of students thought it was hilarious and started doing the exact same thing. There was flamin' hot Cheetos taped everywhere. Library books, school trophy case, the gym scoreboard. So the school tried to kill this joke for Mrs. Gable, but instead they accidentally started a cult, the taped hot Cheeto cult. And there was nothing they could do about it. The only thing that kills a trend is time. And it took some time. The arcade ticket heist. So back in middle school, this group of friends basically lived at the local arcade. Well, one afternoon, 2 friends are walking home and they see the dumpster by the arcade place. Yo, dude, look. Is that what I think it is? Yeah, bro. Tickets. In the dumpster was bags of old tickets. Thousands, all tossed away. Well, that day started a routine. At the end of every week, they would check the dumpster and take all the tickets home. All right, haul it, let's go. And they would store them in one of the friends' garage. But then the arcade catches on and they start shredding tickets. All right, so that was over. But the boys escalate. They realize that towards the night, the employees were always high school kids that didn't really care about their job. Well, they're inside one night and they see something. Yo, look, it's a ring of keys. The keys that open up every single machine, hanging on a nail on the wall, guarded by 2 teenagers. So they had a plan. Hey, the Jurassic Park game ate my tokens. Can you guys check it out for me? You wanna go do that, Kyle? Actually, I'd go in the bathroom. Which game again? So now both employees are successfully distracted. The other kid slips behind the counter and takes the keys. But here's the thing. All right, I just gotta open this, we'll get your tokens back. Wait, where are my keys? Hold on. Uh-oh. Yo, where's the keys to the games? What's that? Oh, I don't know. But there's an extra set of keys right here. Boom. So now these two friends have keys, but there's an extra pair. So the workers didn't suspect them at all. Well, now that they have the keys, suddenly every machine in the arcade is a bank vault, ready to be emptied. And they would do this every day. Jurassic Park, they open the coin box and take all the tokens. Skee-Ball, they open that up and take the entire roll of tickets. Day after day, week after week, they managed to get away with taking hundreds of thousands of tickets. And then it was the big day. They load an entire van with like a dozen bags of tickets and they bring it to the arcade and they haul them in there. We want to redeem these. Yeah, they definitely looked suspicious. But the worker goes, All right, by the end, the friends walk out with a Razor scooter, every single piece of candy the place had, a full set of Nerf weapons, half the toy wall, and a Nintendo Switch. A clean sweep. A frickin' perfect score of a heist. Eventually, the actual manager of the arcade, who was never really there, found out what had happened. But they didn't know who did it because the place didn't have any cameras. And that was a legendary heist that town still talks about. That's insane. Here's what happens when you mess with the wrong kid. There's this 8th grader named Devin. And he had his locker broken into 4 times in 2 weeks. The first time his lunch money was stolen. How, what the heck? The second time his headphones. Yo, that's messed up. The third time his jacket. Dude, who would do this? And the 4th time his water bottle. But I'm so thirsty. Now everybody knew it was this kid named Brandon. Yeah, Brandon had been stealing from lockers since the 6th grade, but nobody could really prove it. And Brandon always stole from Devin during lunch. So Devin decides to set a trap one day. He takes a small but powerful Bluetooth speaker and connects it to his phone. He then puts the speaker inside of a decoy backpack, and he puts the decoy backpack in his locker right before lunch. And he stuffs that backpack with a bunch of random stuff, like fake money, an old Nintendo Switch that didn't work anymore, and a bunch of other stuff to weigh it down. His goal here was to get Brandon to steal the entire backpack. Once it's all set, he walks away and leaves his locker unlocked. And just like that, Brandon goes in and takes the entire backpack. Now, Devin was watching secretly, so he knew what was going on. And he waited till the middle of the class that was right after lunch. And then, he plays an incredibly loud alarm noise on his phone. But remember, that phone was hooked up to a speaker in the backpack that Brandon stole. And it was loud. People down the hall could hear it. Teachers were like, what is that alarm? Brandon freaks out. He takes the backpack, he stumbles out of the classroom, and he throws it down the hall. Everyone's like, yo, what are you doing? What's in the backpack? And then Brandon confesses. Yo, it's not even mine. I stole it from a locker. At this point, tons of students are in the hallway. So was Devin. Yeah, my locker. Brandon was finally caught red frickin' handed, suspended for 10 days. And his reputation, which wasn't that great to begin with, was now forever ruined at that school. Sometimes all you gotta do is set a booby trap. This kid got his invisibility cloak stolen. There was this one kid at this one school who wore a neon construction vest every day. It wasn't for hunting. He thought it made him invisible. One day he's walking through the hallway wearing the vest like usual, and this bigger kid just rips it off of him. Now, you see, usually most people let this kid vibe because obviously he knew it didn't make him invisible, but it made him feel better. But anyway, so it was stolen off his back, and he felt like he had been exposed to the world for the first time. He won't move. Kids are walking around him. He's legitimately stuck because in his mind, without that vest, he is visible and vulnerable. So this one janitor sees what's going on. He walks straight up to this bully. Hey, holds out his hand. The bully tries to laugh it off, but this janitor doesn't blink. He just stares him down until the bully gives the vest back. The janitor hands it back to the kid. The kid puts it on and walks away. And just like that, he was invisible once again. Most school pranks involve a mess or a splash, but the great invasion of 2024 was silent, and it only cost $20. It started when an 8th grader found a bulk listing of sticky googly eyes on the internet. Oh, I'm getting these. And he brought those to school, and he recruited 6th graders. I'm giving each of you 500 sticky googly eyes, and you are to put them everywhere. They were his 6th grade deployment team, and by the next day, the school had eyes everywhere. The fire extinguishers looked surprised. The water fountains were looking suspicious. Every single locker had eyes on it, watching students as they walked down the hallways. Yo, dude, there's eyes everywhere. School administration went into full-blown panic mode because it was basically an infestation. You couldn't look anywhere without seeing eyes. I want names. I want receipts. We must get to the bottom of this. But it was impossible to find out who did this. The breaking point happened on a Thursday. The lunch lady was preparing burgers for lunch. She opened up the fridge to grab the tray of patties, and what she saw, every single burger patty in that fridge had 2 eyes looking up at her. She walked out that day. The school spent weeks peeling off these eyes. Eventually, they were all gone. Well, almost. They missed one. High up on the wall, in the back of the gym, right next to the school's championship banner. One last eye. Years later, they still talk about it. See that eye up there, kid? Yeah, what is it? Let's just say there was a time where everything in this school had eyes, and it was beautiful. This kid saved the school dance. It was middle school, and the spring dance was canceled because of budget cuts. The school said they couldn't afford it, and everybody was devastated. Well, this one kid notices something. In the basement of the school, there were 3 vending machines, all of them out of order, but all of them stacked with food and snacks. They've been there for months, maybe more than a year, but he knew about this because his uncle was the janitor, and he used to hang out in the basement with his uncle. This kid was also smart. He realized that these vending machines used standardized 7-pin locks. Pretty sure I can open these. So he looked online and he found out that you could just buy a replacement key. So he did. Comes in the mail pretty quick. He goes down there one day, unlocks the vending machines, and takes all the snacks out and puts them in a big duffel bag. Then he sets up during lunch for the next few days, selling everything. Chips for $1, candy bars for 50 cents. Kids are lining up because the school snacks were super overpriced. The thing is, he's not keeping any of that money. Every dollar goes straight to the dance fund. He keeps this going because he had a lot of snacks from those vending machines. Within 2 weeks, he raises enough money to be able to afford all the school decorations, the food, the punch, everything. He goes to the principal. Hey, so I know everyone was so excited about the dance and they're sad that it's not happening, but I raised some money and I can afford the entire thing. The principal's like, all right, let's do it, kid. They use the gym. School all agrees. They never found out where that money came from. They were just grateful. This kid saved the school dance and everybody had a great time. It's beautiful. Gotta respect the hustle. This guy was played. When he was in 10th grade, his crush, named Sarah Lee, was in the same class as him. And him, Sarah Lee, and 2 other people were in a group project together. Well, Sarah tells him, hey Tommy, come here. Hey, what's up? So you're basically the mastermind of our project? Your job is to design the title slide. Okay, nice. Now Sarah was super smart, but she told this kid that all he had to do was design the title. She told him that first impressions were everything, and that his creative vision would set the project apart, and they were sure to get him A. And he was like, wow, she must actually like me a little bit. So he spent 6 hours. He was choosing fonts, picking out background designs, making it look absolutely incredible.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Sarah and the other group members were in a completely different group chat. They were doing the project themselves. Now, to me, I would have loved to just have to do the title. Well, presentation day comes, and they are called up to the front of the classroom. All right, you guys, you may start your slideshow. And he was ready for the entire class to see the beautiful title slide he made. Well, it started, and the title slide went up on the projector. And it wasn't his title slide at all. It was just a white background with the name of the project in black font. Wait, I think that, no, it's fine. All right, everybody. And she presented. They got an A, but that wasn't the thing. This kid was trying to impress his crush, but she didn't care. And she admitted later that she was just trying to mess with him, which is not right. He was 11 years old and he built the best sandcastle of all time.
Yes.
It's beautiful. It had walls, tower, a drawbridge. There was seaweed that was decorating it. It was pure art. Well, once he finished, he stepped back to admire it. And here comes this menacing teenager. Nice sandcastle, loser. And just kicks the crap out of it. Sandcastle completely destroyed. Yo, what the heck? The teenager left. This kid was upset, but he decided to take action. So he rebuilt, bigger, stronger. And this time, he buried the heaviest, pointiest rock right in the middle of the sandcastle. Covered it perfectly. You wouldn't be able to tell it was there at all. And now this sandcastle looked even better than the first one. It's perfect. But as he suspected, the menacing teenager came by again. Oh, so you're just gonna rebuild it and think I wasn't gonna come back? The teenager pulled his leg back, he's getting ready, and he just kicks it. Remember the rock the kid buried in there? Destroyed this kid's foot. Oops, shouldn't have kicked it, man. The kid limped away, crying to his mom. Some people gotta learn the hard way. Hey, awesome. No high fives allowed.
Huh?
Why? Because it's assault. That was the actual rule. And no, that doesn't make sense. People couldn't celebrate high five each other. If a teacher saw a high five, they would jump in, pull it apart, and both those kids were getting to frickin' detention. And they always said, aggressive behavior will not be tolerated. So that's dumb rule number 1. Then they started a new rule. The only liquids or beverages that students were allowed to bring into school were water and milk. And if it wasn't water or milk, they would take it away. They would check students' lunch bags every single morning as they were walking into school. Coffee from home? Gone. Flavored water? Gone. Gatorade? Gone. Tea? Get the heck out of here. One student had laryngitis and his throat was hurting him bad. The doctor said he could bring tea with hot honey to school. He even had a note. But the school took that note, ripped it, and dumped that tea out. You know the rules. I hate my life. And this was a kindergarten through 12 school. And these rules applied to everybody. The school also served the same lunch every day. 3 chicken nuggets and 3 carrots. And kids weren't allowed to bring anything else. Nobody knew what the point of this was. But what I do know is that sounds like the worst school ever. This teacher sucks. It's the first day of geometry, the class she's supposed to teach. And the first day, she drops a test onto every single desk. Let's see what you already know. People finish, they hand them in, she grades them, and then she calls up 2 names. You 2, stay after. Everybody thinks they're in trouble, but they're not. Those were the 2 that got the top scores on that test. The next day, the teacher hands those 2 a packet. The packet has chapters in it, examples, and answer keys. The rest of the class gets nothing. She then tells these 2 students, since you 2 got the highest score on the test, you'll be helping me teach this class all semester. And they did. They would follow this packet on what to teach every single day. The next Monday, they would get a new packet. And while these 2 kids are teaching, she is sitting at her desk playing solitaire on her freaking computer. Eventually, kids start asking hard questions. Hey, so why is it this way on number 12 when it's supposed to be the Pythagorean theorem? Don't look at me, this is your lesson. She would literally never help. Weeks go by. If the 2 smart kids get sick, it's a movie day. And if the 2 smart kids are confused about a lesson, so is everybody else. She literally did absolutely nothing. And that was the last year she taught at that school. Good. It's a big family birthday party. All the cousins are the same age, from middle school. There's cake everywhere, balloons, pizza crusts on the couch. By 8 p.m., the party's over. The adults are done. One of the aunts says, all right, kids, that's a party. Nobody's leaving till we all help clean up. One cousin says, no, I'm not cleaning this. I gotta go home, man. I mean, I don't want to clean it either, but what do we do? I have an idea. That cousin then just drops to the ground. Full body collapse, right on the floor, everyone's screaming, oh my God, Corey, wake up! The kid's not moving at all. One of the cousins is like, okay bro, joke's over, stop. But Corey is just committing to this. His eyes are closed, he's limp, he's silent while people are shaking him. Come on, Corey, get up, get up. What he didn't know was one of his uncles was in the kitchen and called 911. So now, paramedics burst into the house. Where is he? Where is he? That's when he's like, I'm better now. Everybody explodes. The parents are furious. The cousins are like, bro, that was way too far. He's grounded for months. The ambulance leaves, and now all the cousins are forced to clean up double time. They didn't just have to clean up from the party. They had to now clean all the bathrooms and rake the yard. It was insane. So his little bit to get him out of cleaning made things 10 times worse. In 4th grade, these 2 kids decided to ruin someone's life. They didn't mean to though. It started as a joke. They stayed after class one day, laughing, scribbling in notebook paper. JT, I've been in love with you forever. That's good, that's good. But they didn't sign their names on it. They signed this one girl's. She was a quiet girl, and JT was the class clown. They finished writing the note, and they folded it up. They then put it in JT's desk, and they left. Forgot about it. Until the next morning, they walk into class, and JT is standing up, reading this note. JT, I've been in love with you forever. You make my heart go boom, boom, boom. What? He reads every word. And when he's done, everyone turns to this girl. I didn't write that, I swear. I didn't write that. Nobody believes her. Everyone thinks it's real. She has a full-blown meltdown and she leaves the classroom. And the 2 kids stare at their desks. The next few days, she is bullied relentlessly. And one of the boys that wrote the note couldn't take it. Hey, it was me that wrote the note. Me and Kyle. We are so sorry. Why would you do that to me? My life has been horrible this week. I'm so sorry, I'll try to make it right. Those two then announced in front of that entire class that it was actually them, and that people should please be nice to this girl. But it wasn't as easy as that. People still made fun of her, and they realized that even a simple joke could follow somebody around for years. So be careful what you do. Be careful who you do it to. Be nice, everybody.
So in the second year পড়ি
সেকেন্ড ইয়ারে আমি ক্লাস 9 এর পোলাবেন প্রেম করে
মামা মায়া তো অস্থির এক্সকিউজ মি আপু এক্সকিউজ মি আপনার নামটা যদি বলতেন একটু
শুনেন বেঞ্চ সাহেব আমার বন্ধু দিশান ঠিক আছে আপনার বান্ধবীরে শুনুন মারি নাই তো শাসন করছি ভালো লাগে না একটু মারতেই পারি কিন্তু খুব খারাপ হয়ে গেছে তুই রবিল নামে সুন্দর রিক্সা ডাক ভাবি কি আমার বন্ধু দিশান দিচ্ছে প্লিজ ভাবি আপনি একটু নেন প্লিজ ভাবি দেখেন ভাবি ফোন তো ধরে না আবার কল দে এই এই দুলাভাই সামনে থাকলে যে সালাম দিতে হয় আপনি শিখাই নাই তোরা
যে কোচিং এর সামনে যে গুন্ডাটা দাঁড়িয়ে থাকে আমার তো মনে হয় পড়াশোনা সব বন্ধ করে দিবে
আমি তোর প্রেমের গল্প সাকসেসফুল আমার কথা বিশ্বাস কর
আমি শুধু একটু প্রেম ভালোবাসাতে আমি শুধু ওরেই চাই বাবা আমি ওরে পাইলে হবে
ওকে আমি আপনাকে ভালোবাসি আচ্ছা আপনার কাছে একটা প্রশ্ন
যাই শোনো আমি একটা জিনিস ভাবতেছিলাম
কি বলো তো
সেটা হচ্ছে যে আই থিংক উই ক্যান বি আ ভেরি গুড টিম জীবনে তো কোনো হাফ ডান প্র্যাঙ্কের ইতিহাস নেই আজকে এটারে ফুল ডান করে ছাড়বো ভাই
ওকে আই শুড গো নাও আই শুড গো নাও
না না হি জাস্ট গো নাও ঠিক আছে
এপ্রিল ফুল আজকে 1 এপ্রিল তুমি সবাইকে বোকা বানাও আমরা আজকে তোমাকে বোকা বানিয়েছি
নেন মানব কল্যাণে ম্যাক্স আগে আসবে এটাই তো স্বাভাবিক
হ্যালো আরে ঠিকানা তো খুঁজে পাচ্ছি না আপনি কোন ঠিকানা দিবেন
খারাপ হবে না তাছাড়া তুমি তো দেখতে শুনতে ভালোই সুন্দরী একটা সুন্দরী মেয়ে যদি টিমের সাথে থাকে খারাপ কি আইড লাভ টু নো ওয়ারিজ
শেষ
মাই ফোন আমার কষ্ট করে কেনা ফোন
শাট আপ একটা কথা আর বলবি না
কি সমস্যা তোমাদের
তুমি নাকি আমার ফোন ভেঙে ফেলছো
ফোনটা তো আনাই হইছে খুঁজে না এখন
দেখেন আপনারা যে আমাকে থানা নিচ্ছেন আপনাদের থানাও কিন্তু আমার ফ্যান ফলোয়াররা ঘেরাও করে ফেলবে হোসেন ভাই ম্যান আপনারা একটু পরে আমার সাথে সেলফি তুলতে চান তখন আমি তুলবো না
থানা নিয়ে যান
ভাই
শোন ওই যে ও দেখ শুয়ে আছে ও আজকে বেটার 3 নাম্বার গাছটা তার পেছনে গিয়ে তুই কিন্তু দাঁড়াবি ঠিক আছে আজকে বেটার খবর আছে
আরো নেক্সট লেভেল হাউ
আমার মাথায় একটা আইডিয়া এসেছে ওই কন্টেন্ট যদি তুমি বানাতে পারো একদম হিট ভাইরাল হয়ে যাবে একদম
তুই এটা করতে পারলি
কেন মা ও কি কম ফুটে পুরো ব্ল্যাক ডায়মন্ড দেখো মা
আমার না মাথা ঘুরতেছে
যে কি করে আপনার মাথায় কোনো কমন সেন্স নেই? আমার বাসায় যদি সবাই দেখে ফেলে।
রাত 10টায় আমি ফোন দিব, আর একবারের বেশি যদি রিং হয়
মামা মালটা তো জোস। সরি 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 ভাবি,
তুই পারবি, তুই কর।
দেখ কিভাবে কই।
সেটিং মেটিং নাই তো? সেটিং মানে বুঝো না, পেন্টিরিতি। ও তো আমাদের ভাবি হয়, ওই হিসাবে আমাদের বিয়ে হিসাব আপনি।
আচ্ছা দাঁড়া, ওয়েট কর, আমাকে একটু ভাবতে দে, দেখি কি করা যায়।
দোস্ত তুই থাক, আমি যাই। আমি থাকবো মানে তুই থাক দোস্ত।
রক্ত লাগবে রে। রক্ত? আসবো না মানে?
হ্যাঁ তাই তো শুনলাম।
আসবো না, ঠিক আছে, দেখতেছি ব্যাপারটা। যাও।
কি রে, তুই কোচিং এ যাস না কেন?
দোস্ত আমি কোচিং এ কিভাবে যাব বল? এই গুন্ডাটা যে আমাকে ডিস্টার্ব করে, তুই দেখতেই তো পারছস, ডেইলি আমার পিছনে লাগা থাকে।
আমার ভালোবাসার গল্পটা অপূর্ণ রয়ে গেল।
গলবে, পাখির মন গলবে, এমন মন্ত্র দেব।
এভাবে রাস্তাঘাটে একটা মেয়েকে উত্তক্ত করে আর নিজের গায়ে রক্ত দিয়ে